Welcome to Paddling Adventures Radio. I'm Sean Rowley, and with me is Derek Specht.
Hello.
What's going on, Derek?
It's all good. We're in the middle of a snowstorm here.
Right? You showed up and brought all the snow with you.
I know, yeah. On the way here, I just was looking for what looked like a lane where other cars weren't infringing, so I just took that route. It worked okay.
I might get to use my snowblower tomorrow. Oh! I haven't used it in 2 years.
I'll probably do that when well, do we know when the snow's going to stop?
I didn't even know it was coming. I've stopped looking.
Yeah, I don't look at the weather much either.
Just a surprise to me anymore what happens.
Like, I'll be aware of any weather alerts because it pops up on my phone, but I don't go looking for weather anymore.
I don't watch the weather, and I don't watch the news on a daily basis.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm going paddling, I look at the weather. And if it shows up, I'm going, oh, what are we supposed to get?
Yeah.
Sometimes, but not always. If I go outside, oh, this is a nice day. I just look, oh, yeah, it's only supposed to be 0 for the day. So it just dictates which jacket I wear to work. But yeah, it's absolutely coming down right now. The dog went out for a while and came back totally covered. So
It is coming down pretty heavy.
Yeah. That's about time. It's January. It's the end of January already.
You spy.
It's way past time. Was at work today. Somebody who doesn't strike me as the outdoorsy person came up. Got a question for you. Okay. Do you set up your tent and sleep in your backyard? I used to, but now I only do it if I'm testing out a new tent.
Gear, yeah.
Just thinking that's kind of odd.
That's a weird question,
right? Why?
Are they snooped? Are they flying drones over your house or something?
I don't know. No, he's just curious. Like he says, you seem like the kind of guy that would set up a tent in the backyard just to sleep outside.
So
I don't know if that's an insult or I'm not really sure how to take it.
Why are you asking me this question? I can't help but be suspicious of your inquiry.
Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious.
So I don't know how to respond to that either, but it's like, well, I don't set up my tent to sleep in my backyard.
Yeah.
But
you set it up.
I set it up. It's I'm zooming in, so there's my tent in my backyard right now.
Totally covered.
Getting covered in snow.
Yeah.
It survived.
At least you'll know whether
so when the winds came through, it was fine. I had to snug up some cords, but you can see all the snow in my backyard. But so it's like I have to be careful how I respond to this because I have a tent set up in my backyard right now. But I'm not going to sleep in it.
Well, you could pay $20 to the homeless people, put them in there, and say, "Hey, stay here for the night.
Sure.
Be nice and warm. I'll bring you breakfast
there's some
and the
wood.
money."
There's the wood stove's there.
Yeah.
I ran the wood stove there today too. So
I've actually thought about doing that too, because there's a couple in our neighborhood.
Really?
Yeah, that wander around. They have their shopping cart and their tarps and that, and I can never find them when there's bad weather. So I don't know where they stay, but I'd often see them thinking like in the winter.
Where do you go?
I'm almost tempted just to put the stove and tent up when it's weather like this. Just put a big sign. But come out in the morning and tent's gone.
Tent's gone.
Tent's gone.
Yeah.
But yeah, you don't know. Anyway, so he's asking if and I said, anytime I get new gear, you always test it out.
Well, you got it. You don't want to say get out into the woods for the first time and go, oh, I never thought of this shortcoming of this setup or this whatever. So yeah, I had it. I set it up over a couple days. I made some adjustments, fine tuning this and that. I still have to do a few more things before I can put it away. Like the stove
let
jack.
It dry out now.
Well, there's that too. But there's the stove jack. It's set up for a 6-inch stovepipe, and mine is like a 4-inch stovepipe. So there's a huge gap.
Really?
Huge gap. So I'm looking at a few things. I'm looking at like if I can find some really thick door gasketing for wood stoves, I could just do a couple wraps and block the hole, right? Because there's proper ventilation at the peak. There's There's ventilation at the peak as well as there's lots of gaps. It's just
there's a lot of gap coming around that stovepipe.
Yeah.
That's just going to fill your tent.
Yeah, exactly.
But no, I telling them, when you get a new tent, you take it out there, and it's nice to sleep in it because you're outside. But also, if it's bad weather, then you like to sleep in it because then way it's going to keep the rain in that out because there's nothing.
It's going to work.
Yeah, and then I went in the whole thing about if you're out in the backcountry sleeping and your tent starts letting in the rain, you are not sleeping all night.
No.
And then the next day when you're up and moving, to another lake or whatever, if it's not a rest day.
Everything's heavy, everything's wet.
Yeah, and you're getting tired and more tired. And if you're, by the end of the day, maybe you're tripping, and that's when accidents and stuff happen. So it's best to test all your gear before it's
even
out
if
there.
you've used it a couple times. Like I always in the spring before I do my first trip. For the first trip of the season, I pre-set up my setup. I set the tent up to make sure that moths or mice or anything haven't got into anything, chewed holes that the nurse, to remind myself, I forgot I have to fix that zipper. I packed my tent one year, and when I unpacked it, I discovered that I must have trapped a large spider because there was a spider carcass, and he had chewed a large hole in the mesh.
A spider?
A spider.
Chewed a hole.
Well, there was a dead body, and there was a hole in the mesh. I just stuck two pieces of duct tape against each other through the mesh, and that's the way it's lived ever since.
Spiders could do that.
I didn't think so either.
Or maybe he had acidic blood.
Oh, maybe. But it looked chewed. It looked frayed.
Huh.
So
weird.
Yeah. Well, they can bite if they're trapped, they're going to find a way, right? And if they
maybe he whipped out his knife.
Yeah, spiders eat bugs. They don't just suck bugs dry; they eat them. Chomp, chomp, chomp.
Yeah, but don't they inject fluid to turn their insides to goo?
I have no idea. I don't
suck the goo out.
I don't have any spider friends to tell me these things.
Spider friends, spider. I'm pretty sure that's what they do. They inject their victim with some sort of poison thing that turns their insides to liquid, and then they just suck it out.
Soften them up like a poached egg?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Anyway. So, when I got this whole... It was weird having this conversation with this guy at work who's, like I say, not the type to be going camping and just throws that question out
maybe
there.
He's thinking about it. He's like, hey, if I get a tent, I need to know how to use it. I need to know how to set it up.
Sean's setting up a new tent. I know where to steal one.
There is that, too.
Oh, it's weird. But, it was a conversation I had at work.
Yep.
But, so he got himself a little earful of what it takes, what you do, and all that sort of thing.
Yeah, I had a guy ask me at work today. He asked about, it just seemed, the way he asked it was weird. And he asked me about tennis balls and ski jacket or winter jackets. He says, you ever heard of that? I said, in the dryer? He goes, yeah. I said, yeah, if you have a puffy jacket, whether it's synthetic or down, if you wash it and when you dry it, you throw in some tennis balls. It's non-damaging to the dryer and it puffs everything back up. It works really great on sleeping bags if you want to wash your sleeping bag and want it to go puffy again. It redistributes any down or redistributes any synthetics. And he looks at me and he goes, you seem to know a lot about this. It's like, I don't know a lot about it. It's what they say you do.
I don't think I know anything about this.
No?
No.
Oh, I thought you'd know about this.
No.
So if you wash a down jacket or a synthetic down sleeping bag or whatever, and the feathers will clump after you wash it. And a lot of people will take it to get it professionally cleaned because they don't want to risk a $800 sleeping bag.
Yeah.
But really, all you need to do is be careful with what detergents. Use the proper detergent, and when you put it through the dryer, I would
do it at high.
I would mostly hang to dry, and then at the end, when everything is mostly dry, in the dryer with some tennis balls, and it thumps and bangs
on fluff or
exactly. It just fluffs up the down. So if you have a down jacket or sleeping bag or even some synthetics, they can clump after a washing, and so the tennis balls will help. I'm surprised you didn't know about this.
The dog would go nuts.
Don't put the dog in the dryer.
Chasing all the he'd be sitting there looking at the dryer, watching all these tennis balls going around inside.
But the thing is, with the tennis balls, they're non-damaging to the dryer and for garments, right? So it just fluffs all the inside stuff up.
Yeah, no, I don't think I've ever heard that.
Oh. Yeah.
Well, learn something new every day. Okay, episode's over. I learned something. Bye. This has got to be our shortest episode. 10 minutes.
I'm surprised you never heard of that.
No. Going to have to look that up now and find out what exactly to do. Summer's coming. I might have to wash some sleeping bags. Or not.
Some of the cheaper sleeping bags, I would still use the tennis balls, but some of these newer sleeping bags, they have sheets of synthetic material, so it generally doesn't clump unless it's a really old sleeping bag, and then it'd be good because, the synthetic material rips and tears inside and then will settle into a spot, and you'd have cold and warm gaps, right?
Yeah.
And the tennis ball would help fluff it and move it back. But yeah, throw in a bunch of tennis balls, and not a lot. Don't throw in like a couple hundred. But
the thing doesn't move.
But like, two or four tennis balls, whatever, just enough so they.
So what's with the dozen tennis balls? Nothing.
You don't need to know about this.
These are not the droids you're looking for. We have gotten into this thing at work now where I'll be settling into work and my daughter will go, "Hey, I'm free if you want to chat."
Oh, there you go. FaceTime.
So while I'm getting stuff ready for the day at 7 o'clock in the morning, which is 9 o'clock in the evening for her, we will do the FaceTime thing.
How technology has changed over the years.
Right?
I remember years ago, like getting phone cards that with a little strip, and the machine would chew away at the card to get rid of the magnetic strip until it was gone, and your time's up, and it was very expensive.
Mm-hmm.
And now you just, for free, FaceTime anywhere in the world.
Back in the day, okay, we're going to call Grandma and Grandpa at Christmas time here. So, okay, quick, it's your turn, quick, it's your turn, quick, it's your turn, quick, it's your turn. And everybody take their turn at talking to Grandma and Grandpa or whatever on the phone before, because it was long distance, right?
Or you're out with friends and you're ready to be picked up. Yeah, so you dial the number, do a collect call, and say, "Yes, there's the collect call. I'm ready to be picked up at the drugstore."
Right?
Do you accept the charges? No.
Yeah, if you're doing that, a quick little message.
Yeah.
"We're back home, we're fine."
Yeah, exactly.
Do you accept the charges?
No.
You have a collect call from, "We're back home, we're fine." Will you accept the charges? Those were the good old days, I'm telling you. Anyway, so we're starting to do this thing now, and it's all FaceTime-y thing. So I can set up my phone in front of my computer and FaceTime her, and then do my work on the computer.
So anybody in the office is near you think, Sean's talking to himself.
Well, no one's really in that time, and the few people that start coming in, they'll hear me talking sort of deal, and they'll hear somebody responding.
Yeah. Sean can change his voice.
Right? So Sean's talking to himself.
In voices.
And he's taking it a step farther, and he's changing his voice. Anyway, we had a little chit-chat today about paddling gear. She's looking at, getting out doing some paddling and camping. And when they were in Sapporo, they went to check out this place, Montbell. Yeah, I guess that's one of their main thingies there. Outdoor camping supply store.
Yep.
And expensive.
Yeah, I can
$800 for a two-person tent. The equivalent of something we get here for maybe $300.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's significant.
Yeah, they're significant. Yeah.
So
I better come with somebody to set it up for me at that price.
But I wonder if there's a supply and demand issue there.
No.
Like, if there's not as many people doing it, then obviously the prices might be higher because you're not selling as many product. I don't know.
Well, like I say, we're talking about the paddling and the camping gear in Japan and Hokkaido and stuff like that, and looking at Sapporo, because that's only a few hours away, right?
Yeah.
So finding places like the Paddle Club and Montbell and UPLND, which I'm just calling Upland, and some other stores and stuff like that. And like I say, Montbell is really expensive.
So it's a high-end store.
It's a high-end store. And you start to look at stuff and, yeah, no. Mind you, she did pick me up a Jet Boil cookbook.
Oh.
It's all in Japanese.
Oh, that'd be
But
handy.
there's some pretty good-looking recipes. And so she's either going to, I don't know that she's going to mail it. She said she, and I told her don't, because it'll be really expensive.
Yeah, it's surprisingly...
So I'll just pick it up when we're there.
Amazon can ship stuff for free, but if you want to ship stuff, it's like super expensive.
Yeah. Paddle Club seems more in line with what we pay here. So I looked at Mech, and I looked at Paddle Club. And there's the MSR Elixir 3 tent. Mech has it on, so I can buy it $480 Canadian. And checking out the same tent. They don't have tons of the same stuff that we have here, but they do have like some Nemo stuff and some MSR stuff, and there's brands I've never heard of before and stuff. But the $480 MSR Elixir 3 tent at Mech is $480. Paddle Club has it for 50,600 yen, which is 469 Canadian. So it's actually $11 cheaper to buy it there.
So it's comparable, though.
So in that case, it's comparable. There is a couple things that I know the pricing of here, and I'm looking there, and I'm like, no, that's a bit pricier there. But realistically, it's all within a reasonable difference, right? There's some brand names that we have here, but but not all. Okay. Like I didn't see anything Kokatat or anything like that, right? Some items you're going to have to search for in other stores, like I presume, because like they didn't have the platypus water. They didn't really have any water filters. They had some water purifiers. They had like single-use water bottles with like the Grail sort of thing.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Right, but not that brand. Was a bit hard for me to search on my end because some of the websites are just in Japanese. And there are apparently, you can look at them in English, but the word look in English is in Japanese. She's looking for a inflatable stand-up paddleboard so she can go check out some of the various paddling spots around her before we come over. And there are spots close to her, so she wants to, and with the car now, like she doesn't have room in her apartment for a canoe or anything like that, but an inflatable stand-up paddleboard she can throw in the back of her little car, which I'm sure is probably a quarter of the size bigger than a Mini. Mini Cooper.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit taller than a Mini Cooper, maybe about a foot longer.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's wider or not.
Cars are very small over there.
They are very small over there. I have a feeling we're going to have to take the front window out so I can lay my feet straight out from the back seat. Yeah. So she's, like I say, she's driving around a lot now, checking places out, and she's keeping in mind, that'd be a nice place to go paddling, and that'd be a nice place to go. And they got a couple national parks in the area, so she wants to go check out some of that spots. Some of the places you can rent canoes and kayaks.
Oh, okay.
So she's going to give that a whirl as well, just to see what pricing's like and whatnot. But so that's what she's starting to look in that. And so she's going to do some research in that and find out what's there, see good brands and stuff like that. Some of the ones that we're looking at were equivalent in Canadian dollars. She's gotten into the whole yen thing now because everything's yen for her.
Yeah,
and it's just like, okay, what is that in Canadian? But you're looking anywhere at some of the cheaper ones are about $750, $800. And some of the more expensive ones, I mean, we saw ones for like $2,000. Mm-hmm. But a lot of them seem to be around the $1,100 range.
Okay.
So depends how good of one you want and how much you're going to use it and that sort of thing. So yeah, so it's pretty cool. They do have, like I say, it's nice that they have some of the stuff that we have here and that it is equivalent pricing and not totally outrageous. And I mean, the big thing with that is if you're buying this stuff, if you're coming home in 2 years or whatever, you've got to bring all that stuff with you or pass it off to somebody, right?
Exactly. It might be cheaper to pass it off.
Cheaper to pass it off or just rent, right? Because there are places that will rent camping gear too, right? So... Anyway, so yeah, that was our conversation today. So I typed into Google Sapporo sports stores.
Okay.
And when I zoom in and I see sports stores on Google Maps, I see Nippon Ham Fighters Team Store. Ham fighters. So I'm picturing people with hams.
Well, they got those weird...
Because they got weird things going
games,
on over there, right?
You watch their TV shows. There's these weird competitive games.
What's that one where they do all those... It used to be Something's Castle. Anyway, they do all these weird games, obstacle courses and whatnot.
Yes.
But there's some weird stuff going on. So, okay. The ham fighters, they got hams and they're beating the crap out of you. No such luck.
No fun stuff.
Imagine
like
my disappointment when it turned out to be a baseball team owned by a ham company.
Oh, well, that makes sense.
The Nippon Ham Fighters Team
But wait,
store.
it's in English?
Yeah. So, Otani, who now plays in like Major League Baseball,
Yep.
That was a team he won the championships with before he came over to...
He played for the Ham Fighters?
He paid for the Ham Fighters.
Yep.
But anyway, I said, if I could get a shirt that just says Ham Fighters, that'd be awesome.
That would be neat.
Oh, that'd be groovy. Anyway, yeah, it's a baseball team. They got a pretty cool logo, too.
Yeah, I saw that you sent me the
logo
the
today,
link
yeah.
photo.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. So, anyway, we'll see what happens when she goes and checks out all these stores and see what she buys for stand-up paddleboard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. In the meantime, this past weekend, we had our own fun and excitement.
It was a good time.
It was a good time. We went to the inaugural Hamilton Adventure Expo down at the Ancaster Fairgrounds by Hamilton. Because Ancaster and Hamilton are not the same town. They're side by each,
they're neighbors.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, neighbors.
Bedroom community. Ancaster is bedroom community of Hamilton.
Got there for 10 a.m. There were already a fair number of people in there. I'm going to preface this by saying it's the first year for this event. The organizers did not expect the turnout they got.
Yeah.
Let's start with what a lot of people are saying about the show, and to me, it's not negative.
Mm-hmm.
It is what a new show is going to have to go through because of unknown factors.
Yes. But you don't know.
Right?
What's your demographic? How many people are in the area? How many people would end up going?
Right. So, first off, they need ropes to separate the people with tickets and the people without tickets. It was very confusing at the front entrance.
Yeah.
Right? Again, these are things that they're going to...
Yeah, there was...
Never thought of at the time. Cause
too many people arrived all at the same time, and nobody knew how to line up properly.
So that's something they can figure out for next year. Overcrowded. You never know the kind of attendance you're going to get with the first show. Mm-hmm. It could have turned out the exact opposite.
Exactly.
And no one showed up.
Yeah.
I would take the overcrowding versus the no one showing up any day of the week. Booth spaces were cramped.
It was a small...
It was a small building that they had it in.
The last time we did the canoe symposium or the winter camping symposium in Kitchener, that venue was about the same size as this venue, and so it was a little bit cramped. Mm-hmm. And so it's a lesson learned that they have to size it up a bit.
Yep.
Because
they got a lot of different vendors with into that limited space.
Really good vendors. Like they really did their homework.
Yep. But again, they could have gotten two buildings and only been able to fill half of one.
True. Yeah.
They did. You don't know. Like I
it's
say,
better to be too successful than
not. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because they've got to eat that cost otherwise, right?
Yeah.
Tons of seating in the stage area, which was nice to watch those presenting and stuff. But to me, the area was so open, I felt the acoustics suffered some. But I mean, not enough to make it a big deal.
Yeah.
I'm just picky when it comes to that sort of thing, so it could just be a me thing.
What event did you watch that you were noticing that?
Karina, and then there was the girl singing.
Okay, so I saw the girl singing plus, what's his name?
Adam
Schultz. So I was much closer. I was in the seating area. Mm-hmm. And so I thought it was not a problem. I was on the right side of the area.
Yeah. So maybe if you were closer.
Yeah.
But if you got stuck towards the back.
Yeah. So it was standing room only for Adam Schultz. It was his talk was very popular, and you were telling me, because you missed it, but you were telling me that the venues emptied out and the hall where people talk and filled up.
You can tell when the some people like Adam Schultz, Kevin Callahan were speaking. Yeah. Because then the floor show area where all the exhibitors were. Yeah. Yeah, it got thinned out some. Mm-hmm. Not totally, but you could definitely tell there was a lot of people missing. Well, that's because they were next door.
Exactly. I had wanted to go to Adam Schultz anyways, but I had gone over early because I just couldn't take the crowds anymore. It was just jammed in there like on a subway or something, and so it's like, okay, I got to get out of here because I'm not seeing anything, and either somebody's in my way or I'm in their way, so I'm just going to take myself out of it. And I went over to the hall and wandered through, and then I got over there and thought, oh, this thing's filling up pretty quick. Who's over here? Oh yeah, it's Adam Schultz. So I was over there fairly early, and I was standing, but I was standing at the very edge of where the chairs were.
Yeah.
But it was a good talk.
Yeah.
It was really good talk. I enjoyed it.
The video screen was small. Yeah. So for those at the back, it was hard to read anything. I know Alexis had put some things up there. Yeah. Couldn't read it at all. So unless you got some absolutely massive screen, I don't know what you could really do with that. Although I did not partake, a lot of comments were made about the food trucks being expensive.
Oh yeah, I never did food trucks.
Yeah, but I don't think they were any more expensive than they are anywhere else. Mm-hmm. I don't think it was.
Food trucks are expensive. I don't think they're going to raise their prices for this event. I think it's just what it is. They have set menus. Yeah. Yeah,
and anytime you go to a food truck, you're paying a bit more.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? Yeah. Lots of vendors, all outdoor related. Didn't see anyone selling rain gutters for your house or bedding for your house.
No, it was...
none of that stuff. It was all outdoors related.
Yeah. There was... I can't think of anything that was off-brand. It was all to do with the outdoors. And so there was some outdoor adventure vehicles and rooftop campers. Mm-hmm. And so that's a slice of interest, but it was all.
It's funny because that one area that had the trucks with the camper on the roof and those awnings. I had talked about those awnings before.
I remember you showing me because you were seriously shopping.
I was seriously shopping for something like that till I started pricing them out. Yeah. But it's this thing that mounts off your roof racks, and then whenever you stop, it just folds out into this giant awning. Yeah, and I'm like. That actually looks better in person than it did in the videos.
Yeah, exactly.
You can sit under this awning and then just fold it back in, easy peasy, right? And it just clips all in, and off you go again.
Yeah, exactly.
But so that sort of stuff. It was nice to see some of the smaller vendors that you won't see at these larger shows. Because you go into the Outdoor Adventure Show in Toronto here,
it's expensive.
It's expensive to get a booth there. So some of these smaller companies can afford to go to something like this and show off their wares as opposed to spending a fortune trying to get into Toronto Outdoor Adventure Show. Yeah. I was there for approximately 5 minutes before I bought something.
Yes.
Tiny Horse. I didn't buy Tiny Horse. There's a company, Tiny Horse. I bought a long leash from them for Athena for portages. Because we talked about those as well, like longer leashes for your dogs on portages. Some of them you can have got multiple canoe dogs or whatever. It wraps around the waist or clips onto your belt or backpack.
Or semi-waist and shoulder. Or it was a lot of ways to wear it.
Yeah, and leaving in dog hooks on the other end, and Leaves the hands free for carrying the canoe or backpack or paddles and fishing rods, whatever, while the dog's still connected to you on the portages, because portage etiquette dictates keep your dog on a leash.
Yes, it does.
So,
Could cause a problem.
Nice strong carabiners at the each end with a little twist and clip action.
Yeah.
Reminds me of some of my old
climbing gear.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So yeah, pick that up for it was like $60, but all that stuff's expensive.
Yeah.
So 60. I didn't see that as being exorbitant for something like that. So now it's just a matter of giving it a whirl, and I'm thinking I should get Tracy to try it out.
With the dog?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
On a day like tonight.
Yeah.
Oh, there she goes. Tracy's on the ground, being pulled across the field.
So if it's clipped on, say waist clipped or whatever, how long was the lead? Was it
I think it's like 8 feet.
8 to 10 feet away from you?
Yeah, which is fine because that way you're not tripping over the dog either.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Too close, and yeah. And I know Mike was it Mikey? Said he had Willow. Maybe it wasn't Mike. Somebody was saying they had their dog on one of those, and when they went to take a step up onto a rock, the dog pulled and they almost lost it. Yeah, so you got to be careful with that. That's why you want it kind of long enough so that they're not right under your feet and they got to jump
some
up.
Give and take.
Yeah.
I like those retractable leashes. Well, I haven't had
one of those
dogs
big
in
ones.
years, but that's what I like about the retractable ones.
Yeah.
Is there's some give and take with the automatic reeling action.
Yeah, that's one I use on our regular walks, that she can go out like 10 feet and then, stop and smell something. And as I walk past her, then I walk another 10 feet and then she's starting to run behind me. So she's got 20 feet worth of length.
Exactly, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I saw a few other items I was contemplating. There's lots of nice things to look at. Who was that? Sulak?
Sulak 46.
They have some nice stuff there.
So he's been designing gear for years. His stuff is very impressive. I first got to learn about that guy on YouTube, and he does a lot of trips. He's built this rail bicycle and for abandoned rail trails, and he's ever from the get-go, he's always decided, hey, I need something. He designs it, and he's found a company that builds it for him. And so it's very interesting. But man, his saws, he's got a bow saw and a fold-out saw, super lightweight. You're paying for the lightweight.
Oh, definitely.
But he's got some,
like aircraft aluminum or something.
It's titanium or aircraft aluminum, whatever it is. They are very well built, very well designed. He knows how to build his stuff, and I don't have any of it because it's expensive. But he's built some nice stuff. Really nice stuff.
And that's what I was saying. You're seeing all these things. They're like, oh man, if money weren't an option, I'd have one of those.
Exactly.
I'd have one of those.
Oh, yeah.
I'd have one of those. Maybe I have two of those.
So he had, and I don't know if you noticed it, but he had a bunch of tent stake snow anchors.
You had mentioned that's why I originally went over to see that. But yeah, I got waylaid by saws and drills.
Yeah. So he has a whole series of different ultralight snow anchor things. So you take this spoon-shaped piece of aluminum, tie a rope to it, buried in a snowbank, and it's your snow anchor for your tent, right? So you don't have to pound stuff into the ground. And it's a brilliant idea, super lightweight. You're not carrying a lot of extra weight. And so if you're an ultralight tripper or hiker or canoeist or whatever, then it's fantastic. But obviously snow anchor, you're not doing canoeing. But you know what I mean. Anyways, for a lot of his gear, it's about saving weight and being most efficient for lowering your pack weight and so on. But yeah, his snow anchors are very well designed. I looked at a couple of them. It's like, these are nicely done. Really nicely done.
And if you have to ask, you can't afford them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the only drawback, because she has some nice stuff.
Yeah,
really nice stuff.
For me, when I do use snow anchors, I break a foot long piece of wood, tie a rope to it, bury it in a pile of snow, stomp on it. Within about 15 minutes, it's solid. Mm-hmm. And if I lose a stick, I'm okay with losing a stick.
Because in the forest, you might find another one.
Exactly. Yeah, not to take away from his product, because his product is really nice.
Yeah, but
there's a lot of items there that I saw, and it's like, oh man, like there's one they have I can't Ursa packs, bear packs, bear food packs.
Yeah,
and so there's I put my name for the draw. It's an expensive pack, but they also there you go. You have their card.
See,
Jeremy and Laura Cornell. So what is that? A.Tech, Advanced Outdoor Technologies. So I was looking at, and her husband's a master sewer, and so he was designing a new food pack. So she said it's their version of a bear barrel or a food barrel, but it's all soft-sided. It's a sack with straps and waterproof, and it's made out of the same material that their bear pack's made out of. And she said by spring, they're hoping to have it on the market. I was looking at it. I checked it out, and it's about 30 liters. She said they're going to design it to either carry one or they'll strap two deep. And so ideally, what's great about that is when I use my bear barrel, by the end of the trip, it's like a third full with just like stoves, and I start to put other stuff in the bear barrel to even out weight and whatever. But these here, as you use your food, you just squeeze it down smaller and smaller and smaller. Yeah. And so you're not, you don't have this giant barrel by the end of the trip that you're only
it's like a dry
full.
Bag.
Yes, it's like a dry bag. It's a stuffed sack dry bag bear pack
with a harness on it.
Yeah,
that you can
exactly.
like a backpack harness.
Great design. She said that the one that I was holding was it was only about a week and a half, 2 weeks old. She said they were rushing to get it finished, and she said rushing, but it was like the stitching was amazing. Mm-hmm. And so he designed and built the strap part of it, and which latches onto the pack itself. The pack itself had hold out loops for attaching the pack material to it, their shoulder straps to it. It's a nice design. It's a strong material. Like they when they build their bear bags, they I can't remember where she said, but there's a zoo somewheres or a
wasn't it out west?
Out west somewhere.
Yeah,
anyway,
they do some work with bears.
Yeah, and so they send it out to them, and the people you pay them, and they'll test stuff for you. And so they have video of their bear
some
sack.
grizzly center.
Yeah, a grizzly center. So the bear sack was tied to a tree and showed the bear just going wild trying to get it.
Yeah, because there's something in it, food or something.
Yeah, something's in it, and the bear could not get at it, could not get into it. Obviously. Anything inside the pack, the bear may not have gotten it, but it's destroyed. Right. Like the internals. Like if you had food in there.
So those sandwiches you made.
They're pre-chewed, but they're still in the sack. The bear, and she commented on it at the time. She said, ideally what you're doing is not necessarily preserving your food. You are not giving the food to the bear, and the end result will be that the bear doesn't become acclimated to knowing that food is provided by humans who hike in the woods, and you don't want these bears to become predatory on humans who carry food.
Right.
So the sack, the idea is the sack will stop the bear from getting at your food for the fact that you don't lose your food, but it's the fact that the bear doesn't eat it and become acclimated to humans.
Well, and that they know they're not getting it out of that bag. And they're not going to give it, hopefully, not going to try it the next time they see people. They're just, it's not worth my time and effort.
Yeah, so it was really neat. It was, I'd never seen one of those sacks in action before. I've heard that, a bear can still tear into it, but from the video we saw, the bear was not getting into it.
Well, my question is, how can they sew it, but a bear can't put a claw or tooth through it?
So she said that they don't know if the backpack itself is going to be bear-proof. They have to test it because there is a lot of sew points. For the other bag, it's seam sealed on two sides. One side is not seam sealed, and so it's tied up at the top. But she said that the way they've sewed it, it's a bunch of stitching that almost like a reinforced seatbelt type thing by the time you're done with it.
Right.
And she said, so it's what'd she say? It's a nylon thread, a strong, weatherproof, UV protected, whatever thread that will avoid being pulled. And it's not just one line of stitches, it's multiple. Yeah. So she said it's good for that. But yeah, so
it did look cool though.
Yeah.
So the other thing I was looking at, Agawa Gear was there. They had that hatchet.
Oh, the two-piece.
With the handle extension, so it turns it into an axe.
I like that.
Great idea. I saw that last year.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was last year they were starting to get that going. And I'm thinking, that's a really cool idea. And they have it there, it's just a hatchet, but there's clips on an extension that turns it into a full-length axe.
Reinforced handle. There's a bit of a protrusion that inserts into the base of the hatchet part, so it's very strong with the two clips.
Yep. And it comes in a green sheath,
which also holds a saw.
Right. But when you pick that up,
there's not a lot of weight.
There was
not what you expect, though. It
was actually more than I expected.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, it's got an axe head, and that axe head was pretty big.
Well, that's the thing that's heavy.
Yeah, that's
that axe head was a lot heavier than I thought it would be. The handle's nothing.
Yeah, the handle.
That handle.
What was the handle made out of? Plastic or something?
It looked like some plastic.
Yeah.
The handle itself, I would have no problems throwing that in the pack to go with. But that axe head to me just seemed way too heavy.
It was was big and heavy. I like the way the attachment point, the way it did attach, because it wasn't a hole in the axe head that the shaft went through. The handle wrapped around the axe head. So it was shaped in a way that it just clasped it. It's if you think about how Groot made the handle for not Mjolnir, but the new axe in Avengers. Thor's axe.
Yeah, I didn't pay attention to that.
Anyways, it's a wraparound type hold point. Very strong. It looks very, very strong.
Yeah. A lot heavier than I expected, like I say, and I don't know that I want to be hauling that around on a 2-week trip, that's for sure.
True. And honestly, do you need an axe?
Right?
Yeah.
That's one of those him and Han things.
Yeah.
Do I need one? Do I know? I do have one of their boreal saws and absolutely love it.
Yeah.
I won't give that up. When that thing dies, I'll go buy another one. I was checking out a Novacraft 16-foot Prospector and Tough Stuff for some maybe whitewater tripping stuff. Being a nice looking boat. Like I say, I don't do the whitewater, but I've been hemming and hawing about that as well. Even not full on whitewater trips, but there's places there's a couple rapids you gotta go. You can't really portage. So it'd be nice to have something like that you didn't need to worry about bouncing off a rock sort of thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I put a hole in my canoe.
Yeah. Enjoyed meeting up with people we knew, we haven't seen since last year, and some new people. Love meeting some of our listeners who came up and introduced themselves. And that never gets old. Stood in one spot.
I had to leave. You were there so long.
Oh, my God.
I gave up on you.
Where's Derek? He's here, honest. I don't know where he went. He left me. I started talking to somebody, and then somebody else joined in the conversation, and then somebody else, and somebody, and people were coming and going. They need to get an area, like a meet and greet area, because 2 hours later, I totally missed Adam Schultz.
Yeah,
because we're just just talking to so many different people, and the next thing you know, it's 1:45, 45 minutes past when Adam was starting.
I drifted off when you got tied up there. It's like, nobody's noticing me. Excellent. I'm out of here. I slipped away.
Don't film it now.
I slipped away into the crowd, and I didn't see you for hours.
Oh, man. They need a meet and greet lane where they can schedule different people to stand and chat. So YouTubers, authors, podcasters. Having said that,
have a signpost meet and greet.
You could put Kevin Callan there at the start of the show, and the line wouldn't end. Like, he was over at the Novacraft booth. I could see him from where I was standing, and there was nonstop people coming up. And
there's a couple times I was just standing there with Kevin and just shooting the breeze, and I'm like, I am taking up way too much of his time because people are waiting in line. They're like eyeballing.
They're eyeballing you.
And so as I was standing there, it's like, yeah, I'm gonna run away, Kevin. And somebody some gentleman and lady came up with a paddle for him to sign. He's like, can you sign my paddle, please?
Here they're taking up his time, and there's some old lady going, I'm going to take him out the knees. Going to shank him.
Yeah.
What happened to Derek? Well.
But I'm also not a talker. It's not like I'm going to be wasting people's time.
Yeah, but, like I say, it was good to meet all these people and chat with people that you see online or hear from online.
Exactly,
And they come up, hey, listen to your show, and all that sort of stuff, and asking questions, and, you want to find out about them as well, too, right? So, long day.
It was a long
Enjoyed the whole thing, though.
day because we were committed to sticking around until the after party.
Yeah, there was a dinner afterwards.
There was a point at around 3-ish, and I thought, you know what, I could just go home now. But no.
It was good. It was good. Like I say, even the dinner part, you get to go and sit with a few people.
So that was good. That was good.
Chat,
it's
right?
just that we had to wait 4 hours to get to the dinner part.
Yeah. And it's funny because Tracy says the night before, Friday night, eat something, like eat extra because you're not going to eat tomorrow. I'll eat tomorrow.
Yeah.
I didn't eat tomorrow.
I didn't either.
I always do that.
Yeah.
I'll go. I had a glass of milk before you picked me up in the morning at 8, and then I did not eat again till what was that, 7 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 6:30.
Yeah.
So between 8 and I had dinner the night before. I had a glass of milk at 8 in the morning, and then I had dinner that night. So I didn't eat.
You must drink water during the day, didn't you?
I had nothing.
Oh, really?
All day.
I went through a couple bottles of water.
Oh, I lied. I had a beer. That little shot of...
Oh, you went and got one, did you?
Yeah.
Free beer?
Yeah, they had free beer. You put your name and email on a piece of paper. You put it into the draw, and they give you, what was that, like 2 ounces of beer? 3 ounces. We'll call it 3 ounces of beer, which you sip like it's expensive scotch.
Yes.
Or just shoot it in one go.
It was free.
Yeah, it was free. Yeah. Creemore Springs light beer.
Yes.
Yeah. Like I say, all in all, great show. It's only going to grow from here.
I thought it was very well organized.
Yeah.
It was very well put together. They had a lot of good vendors. A lot of people went there.
Yep.
It was in Hamilton, which is an underserved area for outdoor adventure shows.
Yep.
Anybody who wanted to go to an outdoor adventure show either has to go down to the States, to Lansing, Michigan, or wherever Canoecopia is, and what is it? The Outdoor Adventure...
Toronto Outdoor Adventure Show?
Yeah.
Yeah, in Toronto.
So they're in Toronto, then there's the Ottawa show. So Hamilton has that area extends down to Niagara and so on. It could serve a lot of people. So they found a niche where they were underserved for outdoor shows. Mm-hmm. And so
a lot of people out past Toronto don't want to come into Toronto.
You don't want to come into Toronto. Yeah. It's a pain. I don't want to go to Toronto.
Rumors are that they may have 2 or 3 buildings next year.
Okay.
I think they could fill them if this year's anything to go by. Mm-hmm. As negative as some people are being out there.
What? About what?
About the show.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't see any negative.
Oh, I've seen some negative because it was too crowded and there wasn't enough booths, and
they're guilty of being popular.
Well, that's my thing. So you can't judge it by the first show.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure the organizers, they're going to look at this year and go, okay, that was a lot more than we expected. Because like I say, it could have been the complete other way around, and those same trolls would have been there going, what a waste of time.
Yeah. Yeah, so, I just got to ignore the negative.
Yeah, so you just ignore the negative Nellies out there.
I thought it was fantastic.
You can't judge it by the first show. The organizers are going to look back at this year and make all the necessary changes they need, and then after next year, they'll have to make some more to do it.
They'll have to get bigger,
adjust a little bit, and big congrats to them and the volunteers. Gary, our buddy Gary, is one of the volunteers this year. I saw him everywhere. Every time I turned around, it was like, I asked him, like, are you sure they didn't just dress everybody up as you, Gary? Because every time I turned around, Gary was there. Well, I even went over to see you. And who was standing right there?
Gary.
I'm sure I just saw you in the other building. Yeah, you know what? And the volunteers, they made this show such a success. I can't wait till next year.
Yes.
Definitely go back next year.
It was very well done.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if anything, it's guilty of being too popular.
Yep. I think it's only going to go get bigger. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah. So I was Googling stuff.
Yeah, try and segue into this one.
Don't make me drag you out of here.
Oh! How's
that? Googling stuff and canoes and stuff like that. And I came across this thing, dragging canoe. What the heck is this? Dragging canoe. This is just a little tidbit of information you find on the internet. A little bit of a history for you. Dragging Canoe, who lived from 1738 to 1792, was a Cherokee war chief who led a band of Cherokee warriors who resisted colonists and United States settlers in Upper South.
What is Upper South?
I think that's like
Muskogee, Chickasaw.
Yeah, Upper Tennessee and higher.
Yeah.
During the American Revolution and afterward, Dragging Canoe's forces were sometimes joined by Upper Muskogee, Chickasaw, Shawnee, and natives from other tribes, along with British loyalists and agents of France and Spain. Cherokee-American wars lasted more than a decade after the end of the American Revolutionary War. During that time, Dragging Canoe became the preeminent war leader among the natives of the Southeast. He served as a war chief of the group known as the Chickamauga Cherokee, or Lower Cherokee, from 1777 until his death in 1792. According to Cherokee legend, he was given his name because of an incident in his childhood when he wanted to join a war party moving against the Shawnee. His father said he could accompany the war party as long as he could carry his canoe. The youth tried to prove his readiness for war, but could only drag the heavy canoe. Hence the name Dragging Canoe. Historians such as John P. Brown and James Mooney consider him a role model for the younger Tecumseh, who was a member of the band of Shawnee living with the Chickamauga and taking part in their wars. In Tell Them They Lie, a book written by a direct descendant of Sequoyah, both Tecumseh and Sequoyah are stated to have been among his young warriors. That's a little bit of history for you.
Yes.
Like I said, I was just Googling stuff and I saw Dragging Canoe.
Interesting.
Right? If you actually Google him, there's a whole history about him and that you can dive right into it and get yourself lost on the internet about who he was and what he did. And, there's a lot more that goes on with what he did and stuff like that and who he did it with. And
very cool. Dragging Canoe.
Dragging Canoe. It says that he was celebrating some victories, the end of some war, I think it was. And they think he had a heart attack.
Oh.
Celebrating too much and passed away in 1792. Yeah.
So long ago, in the 1700s. It's amazing to have written history from back in the day.
For 225 years ago.
It's only.
It's only. Yeah. What, 233 years? Something like that?
Sure. I'm not good at math.
Yeah. Mathematician. Anyway, Dragging Canoe. Look him up and go to town.
It's very interesting.
So while we're sitting here in the nice snowstorm, freezing our bahookies off, the Bahamas, a stunning island nation known for its iconic powdery white sand beaches and stunning clear waters, endless reefs, and shipwrecks. They add character to the emerald blue water surrounding this archipelago. The waters are ideal for canoeing, kayaking, and stand-up paddleboarding, but with 700 islands it can be challenging to select the perfect places to paddle in the Bahamas. Can't say I ever realized exactly how many islands were there.
So, yes, I was surprised by that, too. It's like, wait a sec, 700?
Mm-hmm.
I thought of the Bahamas as like a small grouping of like a dozen islands, but 700?
Yeah. Now, they talk about CAYS.
Keys.
Keys.
Oh, is that how they
That's
spell
how
it?
they spell it. Yeah, because I've always called them K's.
Huh. Well, in Florida, they call them keys.
Yeah. And they're saying they're like the same sort of thing. Islands within the Exuma Keys, Eleuthera, and Abacos are known for their diverse and mesmerizing paddling opportunities. You can paddle just about anywhere in the Bahamas and have a fun experience. There are endless mangrove water mazes, protected bays bursting with wildlife, and even iconic caves and wrecks you can reach on a paddle craft. Before you book the Bahamas paddling vacation, however, you should consider a few factors first. And let us just get right into that. Transportation and accessibility. Most Bahama islands have the same, some type of airport or airstrip, but not all do. If you're planning an island hopping adventure, you must research what types of transportation are available. Strong winds and bad weather can ground planes and make boat travel impossible. So if you plan to hop around a few islands in the area, ensure your plans are fluid and adjustable. The Bahamas, like many paddling-friendly Caribbean islands, is expensive. That's why none of the people I know go to... Well, I should say there is somebody I do know, but not many people go to the Bahamas because it's pricey.
Yes, it is very.
While it's possible to take a budget-friendly vacation to this island nation, it isn't easy. Furthermore, the more remote and pristine areas are generally more expensive. It's best to find a budget you are comfortable with and then start your hotel and flight search after that. This will help narrow your search and stay within your target price point. Paddle shops and tour availability. Since most people take an airplane to get to the Bahamas, you can head to an island that has paddling shops or tours to rent essential gear on vacation. Unless you fly with your paddling vessel, you must make arrangements on the island you're staying at. So if you're taking a stand-up paddleboard that's inflatable, I guess, put that on a plane, then you're good to go. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, you got to talk to your people at your hotel and say, yeah, where can I rent a boat from?
Pre-arranged, please.
Yeah. Not all islands have this type of tourism infrastructure. Ensure you stay on an island where you can rent and reserve the paddling gear you need in advance. Bahamas is a bucket list worthy destination for much of the year, but some months have vastly different weather. Early winter months, December and January, the Bahamas is a great respite from the cold, but strong winds make it hard to paddle on the wind-facing side of many islands. Spring months tend to be ideal for paddling and boating. June through November is hurricane season.
Okay, yeah. Don't go there.
And you can sometimes find good deals during these months. Yeah. Yeah, you want to come in August? Sure, come on down. I'll give you a deal. Book a refundable ticket if you travel during peak hurricane season. Good idea.
And you usually get a fair amount of notice weather-wise about if something's going to come through.
Right. Yeah, just watch the news. The Exumas, a region in the Bahamas located in the southern half of this archipelago, and it's known for its many pristine and often sparsely inhabited islands and keys. And everybody knows this one, the swimming pigs.
Oh, yes.
The Exumas get the most attention. This region is also ideal for paddlers and water lovers of all interests. Long protected stretches that are great for island hopping, stand-up paddleboard adventures, as well as miles of protected coastline and waters that are ideal for snorkeling paddlers. Because that's what you don't think. You're going paddling. Well, bring your goggles and swim fins.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
More than anything, the Exumas are an area of the Bahamas for those looking to escape the crowds of tourists and instead unwind in local townships and explore unspoiled nature. The Abacos. Located in the northern Bahamas is another cluster of stunning paddling-friendly islands. Abacos is a popular boating destination and is frequented by sports fishing boats and other small island hopping vessels, but is also a great spot for kayaking and stand-up paddleboarding. Many of the Abacos Islands are surrounded by shallow and well-protected waters. These safe waters are great for curious paddlers of all skill levels. You can explore vast mangroves and sheltered coves and even paddle to wrecks and reefs that are protected for underwater exploration. Best of all, these islands are quite close to southern Florida, making them easy to reach on small charter boats and by air. So yeah, you can go out there and do a bit of paddle boarding and then dive down and check out some wrecks and reefs and their marine wildlife and stuff like that. That'd be cool.
I don't know why I've never thought of going there.
Expensive!
Well, there is that.
Yeah. I think that's the only reason most of the people don't go is the pricey. It's cheaper to go to Cuba or the Dominican or something like that, right? Jamaica or whatever. Eleuthera Island is perhaps the best all-in-one island for those looking to take a paddling vacation to one single Bahamas island. Eleuthera is a long and narrow island, but its coastline is packed with diversity. There are various caves you can explore, both inland and on the coast, as well as mangroves you can paddle through, deep blue holes you can dive into. Even when the winds are strong, you can usually find at least one sheltered area on the island where paddling is safe and mellow. Grand Bahama is the largest Bahamas island. This is the one you hear about. This one and the next one are the ones you hear about the most.
A lot about it.
It shouldn't come as a shock that it has a few incredible paddling locations. Big Island has plenty of tours and companies that can rent you gear, as well as plenty of flights in and out of America each day. Lukian National Park is a large protected area with a long stretch of pristine beach where you can launch and land a kayak. Nassau, that's the other big one here. Biggest city and the capital city of Bahamas. It is the nation's largest airport and is also the most popular tourist destination thanks to its cruise ship terminal and iconic resorts. That's why you hear about it all the time, right? Island of New Providence, where Nassau is located, has several great paddling locations. Whether you are enjoying the coastal waters near Paradise Island or checking out the many bird species and marine life in Bonefish Pond National Park, there's plenty of paddling you can enjoy when visiting Nassau. So that's the Bahamas. That sounds like absolute paddling joy.
Well, as you were talking through the different locations, I've been pulling them up on the map here, and I honestly never really looked. There's a lot of islands, and
there's about 700 of them, apparently.
Apparently. Like, I knew there was stuff down there, but I've never looked.
So, as I always said, a K, C-A-Y, pronounced as key,
yes,
is defined as a low bank or reef of coral, rock, or sand. More commonly, it is a sand island located on the surface of a coral reef. They usually occur in tropical areas, including the Great Barrier Reef, where they are spotted throughout the marine park. So I was wondering what exactly a key is, because they talk about the Florida Keys and all of these here. So you can go out to one of these little these keys and just boogie around it and see the coral reefs around it and the different marine. And it's all beautiful water.
Now I want to go paddling there.
Right?
So I am not a fly south, go to a beach and
I cannot
it's
sit on
not
a beach.
my thing. So I've never looked at these locations.
No.
I have flown south once in my entire life to go to a beach destination. I was on my honeymoon. And that's the only time I've ever done it.
I've been to Cancun, but we did a lot of sightseeing stuff. There's a couple times we sat on a beach. But it's like, I can't just sit here.
Yeah.
and do nothing. Mind you, there was a hurricane coming in when we landed too, so they're boarding up the windows and the waves are just smashing it. It's the first time I've ever been in the ocean.
Yeah.
Right? And the waves are just coming over, and we're already 3 sheets to the wind at that point. Somebody should have grabbed us and said, "Get back to your room, you idiots." But what are you going to do? They're boarding up the windows. They had better things to do. But yeah, I just couldn't go there and sit on. I just can't sit still like that. And I burn so fast.
Yeah.
And even, I'm just going to go sit in the pool and drink all day. That doesn't.
Yeah, that's not healthy.
Gets old really fast. Yeah. Right? So the only thing I didn't do, I wanted to go check out the arena, but there were...
The arena?
Yeah, there was bullfighting.
Where were you?
Cancun.
They had bullfighting in Cancun.
They had bullfighting in Cancun. There's an arena there. I don't think they do it now, but they were doing it at the time. I was in college way back then, right?
Okay.
But that just was, I didn't agree. Now, I've seen some bullfights where they actually do like these Velcro style thingies they tag them with, as opposed to real spears.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Right? So they get the bull out there, but
more humane. You get to experience the history of it, but you don't.
But you don't get a dead bull at the end.
Yes.
Yeah. It's all the fun and gore without the gore.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, and that's the thing I've said this many times before. If I could go to Mexico, if you want to go and sit on the beach all day, go ahead. But I wish I could go paddle some of these rivers and stuff like that, and see some of the old ruins and the trees, the big canopies that go over the river.
Exactly.
And stuff.
Yeah.
That'd be me.
Now, in this day and age, you hear people talk about, what do you need a travel agent for? Well, if you want specifically some, like, I'm thinking now what I would be, I hadn't even thought about paddling in these locations. It's like, so if I were to, I couldn't plan it myself because I don't know what's down there, and who has the time to research 700 islands and say, well, so you reach out to a travel agent and say, listen, I want to do a paddling destination vacation. I'd like to go to Bermuda, Bahamas.
Yeah. Go to the Bermuda Triangle. Go do paddling there, Derek.
Yeah.
Phone me when you're there and let me know how it's going. What happened there? Dunno.
He disappeared.
He went on some geometry field trip.
Bermuda Triangle is just a bunch of different weather systems that gather together in one spot. Is very dangerous.
It's all a bunch of hokey pokey.
But yeah, it will be. I'm thinking now. It's like, hey, that could be interesting because you're not. If you want specifically a paddling destination, you don't need to go into the big or glitzy islands. Just say, listen, I want an off island. I want to. I want to paddle around some islands and some keys, and I don't need anything high end. I don't need 5-star, and I want to be able to ground a kayak onto a beach somewhere.
I wonder if they allow you to camp.
Oh, see, that brings up another question,
right? So you go out for just get a kayak or stand up paddleboard with a backpack.
Yep,
a few days worth of food and water. That
you
sort of stuff.
You don't need much of it. Of a shelter.
Go out someplace and do a little fire. You don't need a big blaring fire, but somewhere you can get.
See, that would be a problem too.
Unless you brought your own firewood.
Yeah, I think you're going to be non-fire.
Yeah,
just because any of the islands are going to be very.
I think they would be protected too.
Yeah,
right?
Be protected. You're not going to be able to gather wood and burn it. But at least you don't need a fire.
So you go out, you get bring a tent or just some sort of tarp or something.
Tarp to keep the sun off.
Yeah. The minute you say, "Oh, this is just going to be perfect," then the hurricane rolls in.
Yeah.
Unexpected hurricane rolled in.
Why is it snowing?
So the Bahamas, man. There you go. Now you got another one to add to the list.
And I wasn't really that aware of how close the Bahamas are to Florida.
Yeah. It's all right there, buddy.
Yeah. Bermuda's way off in the middle of the ocean, but the Bahamas are not so much.
Right?
Now I got the brain going on this now.
See?
And 700 islands, that's a lot of islands to choose from.
You could get lost in a 3-hour tour.
So you just need something a little bit off the beaten track.
Alrighty. Last thing I got here. The Ohio. I just named this Ohio Money.
What?
Ohio Money.
Oh.
Because I get these little titles, right? The Ohio Money. Ohio Department of Natural Resources announced that it's awarding $350,000 in grants to 14 organizations across Ohio to strengthen local boating education programs.
Are they responding to a series of incidents and issues?
No, they're just giving out the money to people that have applied for it. These grants are an investment in our communities and in the safety of those who enjoy Ohio's waterways, says ODNR Director Mary Mertz. By supporting programs that promote boating safety and water recreation, we're ensuring that all Ohioans have the opportunity to learn safe and responsible boating practices that will last a lifetime. And these are like some schools and local organizations, the Girl Guides and all that sort of stuff. The grants will help local programs purchase boat safety equipment, trailers. So they're talking grants to fund equipment for canoe courses, including canoes, kayaks, paddles, life jackets, rescue gear, safety equipment, and trailers. Also support instructor certification, ensuring high-quality education and safe exploration of Ohio waterways. Grants for stabilizing outriggers, tandem kayaks, adaptive paddles, life vests, and other equipment for inclusive opportunities. Cover the costs of booth setup, print materials, and promotional efforts for these educational programs and safety messages. To repair boats, develop marketing materials, and cover insurance costs. Boat storage, ensuring continued access to recreational paddling education for residents and visitors. And to expand boater safety education through new equipment and skills development programs. Funding will provide longer kayaks, tandem kayaks for families, stand-up paddle boards, and introduced stand-up paddleboard skills and courses. It's a lot they're doing.
Yeah.
I mean, $350, sometimes you're thinking, well, that's not really going to do much. But when you're giving, $30,000 to this one, $30,000 to that, 25 to that, 20 to that, sort of deal, it's amazing what you can do.
I'm curious about, so this just reminds me of when we did our vacation a few years back to Quebec, and we went to a couple towns along the St. Lawrence in Quebec, and there's lots of kayaking rental opportunities, but every time we walked in, it says, "Yeah, we'd like to rent a kayak." Okay, sure. Yeah, how many people? This, that, the other thing. Yeah, this is that. Okay, and what are the ages? Like 10 and 13 or whatever. Oh no, sorry. What do you mean? We don't rent our equipment, and nobody did, to anybody under, I can't remember what the age was, like 15 or something. And it's like, well, hang a sec. I'm with them. They're going to have life jackets. No, we don't take the liability. It's not. So we were
really.
So we tried to rent tandem kayaks, and one of us would have one kid, the other one have the other kid, and double tandem. They would not rent to us.
Was that just Quebec?
That was that trip, and we were in Quebec.
Huh. Maybe they just didn't like you.
Maybe they sense that I don't like French people.
Maybe. Weird. I wonder what I wonder if there's some sort of insurance.
It's always comes down to liability, and there's always that liability issue. And
you can't blame them either, though.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. The last thing you need is the name of your company involved in a news story about a family that drowned their children, type thing, right? Yeah. That's too bad. Yeah, because there's so many opportunities that we saw. There was half a dozen places where it's like, oh, we want to go kayaking here. So we had determined, next time we come, we're bringing our own watercraft.
You're not allowed to lock the kids in the car while you go for 2 hours.
Oh, they frown on that too.
Rules.
I know.
Aren't rules meant to be broken?
So next time we're bringing our own.
Bring your own boats.
Bring a canoe or something.
Yeah. Well, that's what we did when we drove out west. Mm-hmm. We threw the 2 canoes on top of the trailer and everywhere we stayed, we did a little bit of paddling.
Yeah.
Which was so much better.
It was.
And cheaper.
But in our case, it was, so we could have had a canoe with us, and all four of us can go in a canoe and do a little bit of paddle around. But you're on the St. Lawrence, which is a very large waterway, and weather and water conditions can change quickly. So we would have not been comfortable in a canoe, but we would have been comfortable in kayaks. And
see, I always feel more comfortable in a canoe.
For me, not in rough water.
Yeah, I feel more comfortable in a canoe.
Yeah, so for me, it was so I would have felt more comfortable in a kayak with spray skirts and so on, and but then I'm not going to buy 2 tandem kayaks, so I can. Yeah, we wanted to rent, but we couldn't. Everybody said no. Your kids are too young, they said.
So there's one good thing you can do. Leave the kids at home next time.
That's no fun.
Hello, Grandma.
That's no fun. I like
no
sharing.
Fun for who?
For me. I want to share with the kids.
Yeah, there's also that half of you that goes.
Well, of course. Obviously, it can be inconvenient.
Yeah. Anyway, you had fun regardless.
Oh, it was a fantastic vacation.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Before we go here, one show down, a couple more to go. Toronto Outdoor Adventure Show at the end of the month. They're February 21st to 23rd. We will be down there. OutdoorAdventureShow.ca for more information. Tickets are $17 online, or a weekend pass for $20 plus taxes. Toronto International Center. So I'll be there speaking on the Saturday afternoon. Come check us out. If you see us, say hello. And then the Quiet Adventure Symposium in East Lansing, Michigan, the weekend right after that, March 1st. $13 advance, $20 at the store. Quiet at the door. Quiet. I'm just having issues talking today, right?
There's so many. There's about 6 times where you said words wrong. And it's like you didn't even notice.
And then there was the 20 that I did notice.
Like in the last story about the $350,000 grant, you said $350.
Did I say $350?
Yes, you did.
Oh.
Well, at
$350,000.
Yes. I think people got it because you said $350,000 a few times.
No, they're all just thinking the people in Ohio are cheap. $350. Anyway, East Lansing, Michigan, the Quiet Adventure Symposium at the MSU Pavilion, March 1st. QuietAdventures.org. Come check us out there. We'll have our booth set up, and we'll be recording in our booth again this year. Different people, and it's always a good time. And the rabbits.
It's my favorite show. I always enjoy going there. The people are fantastic, and it's just have a good time. Like I say, it's my favorite, but I've first time to Hamilton, and I haven't been to Canoecopia or the Ottawa one. But of the ones I do go to, I really like the Quiet Adventure Symposium.
I like the Quiet Adventure Symposium. Canoecopia is awesome for. It's something totally different, right? But yeah,
what's the pub and bar? Eagle Monk.
The Eagle Monk.
Everybody gathers the Eagle Monk after the Quiet Adventure Symposium.
Yep.
Everybody has their own mug on the ceiling.
Oh, there's dozens of, like, hundreds of
thousands.
mugs. And how you get it, look at that and go,
it's like,
there, that one's mine way up there.
Can we get that washed, please?
Right? Like, I think they got to wash them before they put them back up.
Probably.
Right?
And wash them before you use them.
You figure. But there's these ceramic mugs. You buy a ceramic mug from them.
And they're all unique. It's not a standard mug. It's like custom handmade.
Yeah. And then, there's a number at the bottom, and you write your name and whatnot on it, and they register in the book the number to your name, to your email. And
we've been down there enough. We should get our own mug.
I think we should. Yeah. So you just go, you know where your mug is. You go grab it, take it up to the front. And if you own one of those mugs, I think it's like $2 off each beer or something like that too. Yeah. So
I'm not there to save money. I'm there to I have my own mug. I'm amazing.
I got a mug. Look at me go. Canoecopia is coming up March 7th to 9th in Madison, Wisconsin, the Alliant Energy Center. You can $16 a ticket or $32 for the weekend. Rutabaga.com. And then there's the Ottawa Outdoor and Adventure Travel Show, Nepean, Ontario, April 26th to 27th. Free admission, free parking. AdventureOttawa.ca for all that information. So 1 down, 1, 2, 3, 4 more to go.
And I have this written here, Germany. I keep meaning
Germany,
to get details of the Germany show.
Yeah, so
one of these days we'll have to add that information.
Get details I think that's in October.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we got plenty of time. Yeah. That's about it. You got anything else?
Just because I can never remember the area of Quebec that I went to. It was the Gaspé Peninsula.
Yes, the Gaspé. Gaspe, Gaspé.
A Saint-Aigu on the E.
Oh.
Or Saint-Aigraf. Which one is it? I don't know. I'm not French.
A little funny line to me.
It leans to the right. Not to the left.
All right. Well, if you want to find out more about us, you can find us at paddlingadventuresradio.com. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. You can download or stream all our episodes on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podbean, iHeartRadio, Player FM, or any of your favorite podcast downloading sites. Or you can just go to the episode page at paddlingadventuresradio.com and you can stream or download all our episodes there. If you enjoy the podcast, please share it with friends, family, and fellow paddlers. And if you're coming to any of these shows that we're going to be at this year, if you see us, please flag us down and say hello. And if you see Derek, make sure you talk his ear off.
Nobody recognized me. Everybody recognized you. And I'm okay with
I
okay
point
with that.
you out. I've been pointing you out to people.
I walked by, and they said it just as I passed them. And I saw them look at me. I walked past them, and as I walked past, I go, "Oh, that's his friend."
His friend.
That's the other guy. I just kept going. It's like, well, I don't know what to take from that.
That's that other guy.
But they were looking at me as I passed. I caught them by my peripheral vision. It's like, oh, that's his friend.
Alrighty. I want to thank everybody for listening this week. I'm Sean Rowley.
And I'm Derek Specht. We'll see you next time.